Hello. I'm going to take a little time to reflect on the year and take my time. Been doing a lot of these short videos, which I really like. I like that you have to say something in 15 seconds. It's my favorite one, but the 60-second one is very good too. I'm a big fan, and so are other people. They're getting lots of hits on my channel, and I like that. I like bringing people in to see things that maybe they never saw somebody eat like me or something like that. And it's just pretty exciting, you know. But I wanted to take some time to just sit and talk at a leisurely pace and talk about everything I've been eating. I have some notes here, 2 pages, notes. So I'm going to get into, I wrote down over the last week or two, I wrote down everything that I can remember that I eat on a regular basis. I've been doing this this kind of diet about 4 years. It was December of 2018 when I really first started studying in depth Aajonus von der Planitz. Read that 3 times. His 2 books I read 3 times. And I read Weston A. Price's big, thick book and the nutritional one by Sally Fallon is very good too. It's got a lot of stuff on the sides that you learn from. I have notes from all that. I keep thinking someday I'll read from my journal where I copied down a lot of the stuff out of Aajonus books and Weston A. Price books. But anyway, 4 years doing this. It works really, really well, better than a lot of other diets that I tried. I tried a lot. It's very satisfying. It's the easiest one that I've had that I could stick to because I'm satisfied with the foods and they make me feel good. But, I have old habits of foods and stuff. And so each year when I started feeling a lot better, I would let other foods in and just junk. So I guess that's I know it is just nature, natural human behavior. And I'm definitely one of those. Not perfect and don't stick to anything perfectly. So there's been ebbs and flows. Mostly it's been over the summer. I do really well. I start, in December, it seems, a lot. Sometimes a little later, I start getting back on getting really healthy, and then start feeling better in the summer, go on some vacations. It's not as easy to eat this way on vacation. I'm with the family. They want to eat at restaurants. Get used to doing that. Eat too much, which is a big factor for me. I can't do that. I do really well on smaller meals, or if I have a big meal, waiting a long time till I eat the next meal. Let everything digest and get hungry again. I don't do a lot of fasting. Just do a lot of smaller meals and waiting a long time before I eat again. A lot of times I'll eat once a day. A lot of times I'll eat twice a day. Not 3 times. Never, hardly ever 3 times. So, let's see, what else? And each time, I've said this before in some of my other videos, but I'm not really following strictly any one particular diet. I say Weston A. Price and Aajonus von der Planitz because most of what I do falls in those guidelines, I guess. And people like to put things in a box, but I'm not really that much in a box. Some people are very rigorous, like eat this and then 45 minutes later eat this and then have an egg and then 5 minutes later have an egg and then have a cheese cube and an hour later have a juice. And I'm not made like that. I don't think that's human. And definitely eat more like a human. But I've said this before. When I am my healthiest, it's because I'm looking to God for what to eat, and I ask Him to lead me and guide me, and the Holy Spirit speaks to me. And when I'm closer to God and I've been seeking Him, spending time praying, reading the Bible, and just being with God and acknowledging Him, being thankful, stuff like that. The more I do that, the closer I get, the more He talks to me. And it's those little cues. Sometimes it's just a craving, but I know it's from Him. And sometimes it's just an idea, or He tells me what to eat or leads me to the right thing, or somebody says something and it's just like, that's it. I know He's cueing me. And when I start feeling better, I kind of have gone in this mode of, well, I got this. I know what to do, and it becomes a routine and it doesn't work. And at the same time, it seems I stray from spending as much time with God and talking to Him and seeking Him and reading the Bible and stuff like that. So that's happened every year for 4 years now, including this year. But this year, it wasn't as much of a stray. And I think this is important stuff, because some say everything is spiritual, and I believe that, because that's what happens to me. So yes, it does have a lot to do with what I eat, how much fresh air I'm getting, what kind of exercise I'm getting, where I'm spending my time. It has a lot to do with that, but it is rooted all the time in God. And so I think I said that. Let's get into what I've been eating. So I think I did really well, eating really well until the middle of the year. Then there were vacations and trips and good stuff. Went to Joel Salatin's farm, took my daughter places, had some really good time with my daughter and my wife and my daughter, and good family bonding and stuff like that. But we ate out a lot, and we don't eat junk a lot. I mean, it's the barbecue places or nice steak place, seafood. We find really good stuff, but there's always something that like clogs me up, like the French fries. The French fries are, no matter where you get them, they're full of terrible vegetable oils that clog you up. That clogs up me like crazy. It just stops me, it slows me down. I feel it in my gallbladder. I think it just goes right to my gallbladder and makes sludge. And then I just don't feel like eating again, but I need food because we're on the go. You're spending a lot of energy, a lot of calories. You need something, but my hunger is not there because my gallbladder shut down from garbage going in, sludge. And it's in a lot of stuff, like a lot of like the nachos, that you get that big plate of nachos with whatever they put in there. It's gross. It's good for a minute, but Doesn't make you feel good. So anyway, did all that, got used to that, got lost my taste as much for the I still was doing a lot of raw milk and a lot of raw butter, raw cheese, raw what else was I gonna say? Egg yolks, stuff like that. I never stopped doing all that stuff, but I wasn't eating as much raw meat, or just the clean farm food that I'm eating most of the time when I'm not traveling. So kind of got in a rut. That continued all the way until maybe like late November. I would say end of November. I really shut all that stuff down. It was a little process through November, and then December, definitely very beginning of December till now, I've been eating very clean again and seeing huge improvements. So it's probably my earliest year that I've felt this good. There was probably 2 years ago I felt this good also, maybe. But I feel like I feel better this year than any of the years. I probably ate more good food this year and feel the best this year than any of the years, for sure. So, this is what I've been eating, and most, other than the junk, I won't talk about the junk because I just kind of gave you an idea. Burgers, we have burgers, okay, barbecue, steak joints. We don't eat fast food, really, or stuff from crap places. But, all right, so let's talk about the good stuff that keeps me feeling really good. I eat a lot of lamb burgers, mostly lamb burgers. All these meats are from chemical-free, Amish, rotationally grazed farms, small family farms, where I know them very intimately. I have horses and livestock at both farms. I'm on their pastures all the time. I'm seeing what foods the animals are eating and where they're kept and how they're rotated and all that stuff. It's all the best quality food that you can possibly get. And that's why these farms were brought to me by God, really. It's amazing. I eat lamb a lot. That's probably my favorite meat. The reason for that is I love the taste. I love the fattiness of it. It just lingers on my tongue. It's so satisfying. I love making a burger that's half done. It's kind of cold inside or a little just warming up inside, but still raw. Most of it's raw, but it's warm. The problem with eating raw meat in the morning is that I like it warm, and that takes 5 hours out of the refrigerator. So I probably eat raw meat in the morning a lot more if I got up in the middle of the night and got it out. And I was for a while getting it out right before I went to bed, and I'll probably start doing that again because that gives you 8 or 9 hours maybe. Excuse me, but I'm not really used to the raw meat yet again as much as I was, and I'm just kind of giving my stomach and gut a chance to kind of rebuild and get used to all that stuff. So I'll probably try that in a little bit, probably in like a couple weeks to a month. That's a good idea. I'd probably have it more because I do like having meat in the morning, more meat in the morning or midday, and less meat at night. I sleep better. I think the carbs and the dairy later are better for sleeping for me anyway, and not have such a digestive job to do at night. It's better to have that in the morning. Plus, it gives you all your day to burn through that big meat meal and give you energy for the day. So lamb, beef, so I'll have burgers, steaks, burgers with bacon burgers from the one farm. They're just kind of made up already, patties. Most of the time I just get the ground beef, sometimes ground beef with organs. I have that on a regular basis, so I get my organs in. And chicken, so either a whole chicken or most of the time I have the leg and thigh that I cook just right, just so it runs clear or is a little tiny bit pink inside. And I'll usually cook that in a casserole, covered casserole dish with rice, so I capture all the juice in the rice. That's really my favorite way. Or just by itself in water. And I've been having more chicken and turkey. So I'll have turkey too, turkey sausage, ground chicken also, ground chicken burgers. I had a lot of them this year. I've been trying to eat more birds because I think it's just more balanced diet and I don't want to have too much red meat all the time. I think you can overload on that. And the bird meat gives you a lot of good energy without being too heavy on everything. I've been doing a lot of potatoes. I get most of my potatoes from the farm where they're completely chemical free, organic, and the old style of potato. There's something about the potato, the new ones, they don't have the dimples in them, but the dimple ones are the old style. And people don't like the dimples because you have to cut them out. Something like that. I forget, but anyway, they're really good potatoes and you can taste them. So I'll do a batch. You've probably seen that on my channel. I'll do a batch of potatoes and then take them out of the skins and just reheat them later. That saves a lot of time. Been doing a lot of rice with broth. This is one of my favorite things. Cook the rice in broth. It's wonderful. I've been doing a lot of broth myself, like meat broth, meat and bone broth. So meat and bone broth, you put the meat and the bones in there, whereas bone broth, which I do a lot too, I'll save my bones and then just make a broth from the bones. And I buy broth from both of the farms too. Beef broth, chicken broth. I even had lamb broth one time. And their broth is a little bit different because they put the feet in, they'll put the chicken heads in, which is interesting. I like that idea. And it's all good. I've been doing a lot of rice with coconut cream or coconut milk. I have both of those. I get them from Trader Joe's. They have no preservatives in them. A lot of times you got to watch out. Coconut stuff in a can will have guar gum a lot of times, and that's no good for you. It's sticks you up. It's an irritant for the gut, basically. But I make the rice in coconut cream. That tastes really good. I've been thinking about doing that with broth and coconut cream. That would probably be really good. I think coconut is really good for your body, really good for your gut, and it tastes wonderful. So I'm going to have more of that. I've been having more. I'm going to have more in the future. I've been doing chicken, let's see, I already said that. Peeled cucumbers, plain. I really like those a lot, and it feels good. I think they, I think they nourish your nervous system. But anyway, they're just awesome. Hydrating, taste good, um, feel good when you eat them. I definitely peel them though, and sometimes I put sea salt on them. A lot of times, most of the time, I'll probably eat them plain, sliced. And I'll also put on them coconut aminos, which is like made from coconut. It's a fermented coconut thing that's like soy sauce. I've been having a lot less fruit and milk. And this is on purpose to try to lower my sugar intake. Um, and I feel better because of that. I still eat a lot of the carbs. They weren't bothering me as much as the straight milk and fruit. I would usually have 1 to 2 pints of milk a day, probably last year, and one fruit almost every day, like either an orange, an apple, banana, a handful of fruit, something like that big, whatever. Been having a lot less of that. I have probably beginning of this year, I had 1 pint of milk a day instead of 1 to 2, and started lowering the fruit from 1 a day to 1 every other day. At this point, I don't have a lot of fruit. Probably every 3 days, maybe at this point, I have an orange. I've been eating blueberries sometimes, and haven't eaten a lot of bananas. Probably like 10 bananas this year. I don't know. I lost my taste. I had a lot of bananas in my day, but they sound good right now. Mostly orange. I have an orange. I really like orange. Sometimes grapefruit and apple. Sometimes apple, but not that often. And sometimes I'll have the fruit one day and milk another. So I have milk, a pint of milk every other day. But I've been having more yogurt, and some of my yogurt is 6 months old. This buffalo yogurt, meaning from water buffalo milk. It's really good. And stocked up on it a lot, and just been eating it older and older. It's really tangy and awesome for my gut. So I've been having a lot more of that. And recently, a lot more of the kefir from the buffalo milk, because I really like the way they make it there. It seems to really hit me hard with the probiotics, so immediately I feel really good, charged, and my sinuses clear up, and I just feel like my digestion's working better. And so I've been ramping that up and lowering the milk, because I don't really count those highly fermented stuff into the same category as fruit and milk, because it doesn't do the same thing in my body because of the fermentation. It doesn't spike the insulin. It can feel a lot different, feel a lot more level. I also eat cheese. I don't do a lot of videos of that because it's usually in between, but I'll get like a little chunk of cheese, maybe I don't know, a tablespoon size of cheese chunk, and I'll just eat one once a day, twice a day, something like that. Raw, unsalted cheddar is what I get most of the time. So lots of times I'll eat that later at night. I feel like it's a good thing before bed. It soaks up a lot of the toxins and stuff. It just kind of like makes me feel good before bed, and I feel better when I wake up from that. And I eat a lot of raw, unsalted butter, mostly on bread. I also put that on my potatoes after I get them out of the oven, and so it just melts. So it's very close to being raw. And the egg yolks, I'm eating about 2 a day on average. Sometimes a little less than that. Sometimes more. Sometimes I'll just get in the mood and have 4 or 6. Sometimes 6, but not often. What does this say? Oh, organic morning O's. This is the Whole Foods 365 version of Cheerios. Started craving these this year. Oats. There's just something about oats that I really love. And I've tried oatmeal and soaked Weston A. Price Way, and it's just a mess to make and terrible to reheat, and it's not the same. I like the organic morning O's with raw milk, so it's like a healthy snack for me. And I don't know, there's something about the O's. I think the oats, I think it does more than we understand. Even in this form where they're however they're made, I know it's not supposed to be good to extrude. That's what they push it through, like high pressure, I guess. I guess that's how they're made. But it's not supposed to be good for you, but I feel good when I eat them, especially when I have raw milk with them. A lot of times I'll eat them just plain though. I'll get a bowl of them and sit down and eat them, just like for a snack. And they make me feel really good, like it gives me some energy, and it's kind of calming. Like Ajanas talks about eating some carbohydrates to balance out the detox, he calls it. I don't know. I just get a craving for a snack food, and especially if I had a lot of stuff that's detoxifying, like a lot of meat or raw meat, or a lot of probiotic stuff like kefir, or a lot of yogurt or something, and it just balances me out. And it doesn't give me any negative effects, really. So that's kind of why I'm eating those. My friend says oats cleans you out. And I have noticed that after I've been a couple of months eating junk, putting junk in my body, that I crave them more. And that's what I'm doing right now. So I'm eating them. Better than a lot of things. So, rye, I eat rye bread, like a Jewish rye from a local bakery that I get at the health store, like with the seeds, it has some seeds in it. It's made of wheat and rye, I'm sure. It's softer, and that one's really good. I get sourdough bread from the same bakery, and I also get this rye Mestemacher brand, which you've probably seen on a recent video. That one's completely 100% rye with a couple of other ingredients, organic, and it's sprouted and soaked and sprouted. So I think it's from Germany or Switzerland or something like that. It's really dense and thick, and seems to be really good for the bowels. So I think it's rye is a. I have a video, an older video called Why Rye. Rye is very good prebiotic, meaning your good gut bacteria wants to eat that thing. So I find it works very well. Sauerkraut. So this year I went to the one farm, and one of the things about going to these farms every week, I go almost every week, I see what's coming around. I walk into the cooler, walk into the freezer. Sometimes I just say, can I go shopping in the freezer? And I come out with like $200, $400 worth of meats and stuff that I never would have picked off of the website or thought of myself. Just go browse and get really cool stuff. So one day I was in there and they had all this jars of shredded cabbage. Like, how do you make that? Shredded cabbage with Celtic sea salt. Awesome. And I just kept getting like 2 every time I went. Now I have a refrigerator full of that stuff, and it's starting to break down into more like sauerkraut. And I can't wait till it gets really old. I'm thinking about leaving some just out on the counter for a while more. Again, I'm just starting to get my gut used to that kind of thing, and then I'm going to ramp that stuff up. But what I wanted to say about the sauerkraut is it does really good in my gut, and I'm going to eat more of that. Farm pickles. The one farm, they don't sell them through their farm, but the mother makes the most awesome pickles. And one day I think I drove her somewhere and she said, you know, can I get you something? And I said, what about those pickles? And she gave me 3 jars, and it's like gold. They're the most well balanced tasting, perfectly crunchy pickles in the world. So I eat pickles. I mostly get them from the farms. I find that sometimes I'll just eat a small little bowl of them or eat them right out of the jar. But I also find that there's these stronger ones from the farm. And I find that when I eat a meal, like a heavier meal of meat or something, if I eat 1 or 2 of those pickles, it's like a digestive aid. So mustard's the same way. I eat, you know, healthy mustards that I either buy or make myself. Horseradish is another one. These are the things I eat on meats or in a sandwich with meat sandwich. I've been eating fish, not as much fish as last year. I think that's a good thing. I think I ate a lot of fish, and I was a little bit concerned about the toxins in the fish. But I do eat fish, either frozen wild fish, fresh wild fish, or sometimes I'll get little fish sticks, breaded fish sticks, and I'll eat horseradish with them or mustard. I really like doing that, like as a treat meal. Let's see, what else? Ribs. I've been into ribs, pig ribs, mostly. Lamb ribs are one of my favorites, but I haven't gotten part of a lamb recently. I've been meaning to do that because the lamb ribs are incredible. There's not a lot of meat or anything on them, but what you do get is really good. Also, I've been thinking about, I think I already talked to the farmer. That's what I forgot to talk to him about again today. I want to get him to hold a sheep for me until the 3-year mark. Derek Nance eats all of his sheep at 3 years because they start getting really good fat on them at that point. But most people, they like lamb, they like the young ones, and they don't like the mutton. I do. I've had the older lambs and I prefer them. So I'm going to try to get him to hold one longer for me. Sausages, pork belly. Pork belly is very good from the one farm. Has no salt or anything. Sometimes I add a little salt, but I do eat it plain a lot of times. Lots of different bacon types from the farm. I'm usually having bacon on a regular basis. Um, Seaweed snacks. This is something I just got back into. I used to eat them a little while ago. I just read this book about minerals. I'm really into like the mineral idea lately. I think I did a video on that, and it seems like the seaweed is something that's giving me something I need, is what I'm saying. I'm craving it more and eating it more. And I'm interested in getting more copper. So I think clams. I'm going to try to get some clams more, and seaweed. And I've been having liver. So I don't know. Spring water. I'm drinking mostly spring water this year. I have a couple natural springs that I go to. They're both in West Virginia in way different spots. West Virginia is weird, and they're probably 4 hours from each other. But if I go west, south, sometimes when I go south, I go past the one, and if I go west, I go past the other. I'll take like a carload of half-gallon and gallon glass bottles and just fill them up and bring it all home. So I've had a lot of that water this year. Then other than that, I just buy Crystal Geyser for $1 or stuff at Whole Foods for $1, which I think is the same. It might not be, but it tastes about the same. And then I get Mountain Valley a lot. I don't really drink any other water other than that, I don't think. Liver. Been eating liver, raw ribeyes, my favorite raw meat. I like raw hamburger too. Raw ribeye and raw hamburger. I haven't really eaten anything else raw, I don't think. Those are my favorites. Canned tomatoes. So we got a big load of tomatoes from the farm this year, totally organic, and my wife canned them all. So I've got jars of canned tomatoes downstairs, and I'm really enjoying them. Just put them with pasta and butter. Pasta and butter maybe, or something simple like that. I keep my meals simple for a reason. The reason I keep my meals simple is because it is easy on the gut. Oh, the third person I studied, other than Ogenes Weston A. Price, was the Heal Your Gut guy. I paid $175 for his video course, and it was really good, and I learned a lot. I eat a lot of foods that he ate to heal his gut, and I stay away from heavily seasoning things or mixing too many things together. I keep it simple, and if you think about what I'm eating, it's very smooth. It's very soothing to the gut. Meat is soothing to the gut. Dairy is soothing to the gut. Rice broth with rice is all very soothing. Chicken and rice. They say if a dog has digestive problems, feed it chicken and rice till it straightens out. It's true. Works. This works. Yeah, all this other stuff here I already talked about. So there you have it. There's what makes me healthy. I'm going into this year thinking maybe I won't stray this year. Thought that last year, but like I said, I'm human, and I know that there's a lot of people probably watching this right now that have the same experience, because it's what we do. It's what we do as humans. And I think for me, it's brought me closer to God, which is probably the whole reason it's happening. And I enjoy that, getting closer, because I need that. I need that. And there you have it. I think that's my update for now. I'm just going to post this as it is. I hope it came out. And if you have any questions, let me know, and I'll either answer them in the comments or do another video. Appreciate you watching. Have a good new year. And that's it for now.